Thank you for doing this interview. Do you believe that historically black colleges and universities are relevant today?
I do. I think they are very relevant because without the black colleges and universities, a lot of young black people wouldn't get the best advantage of a college education.
So when you say best advantage, do you think at historically black colleges and universities that we actually have advantages versus at PWIs?
Yes, because before I came to Jackson State, I attended USM in Hattiesburg, and I feel like the difference in the teaching there and the teachers here, they seem to care more about the students, and it's more black teachers here versus there. And even though we had a black president at USM, it just wasn't the same as it is at Jackson State.
Okay. So as far as other advantages, looking at sports, looking at even food, do you think we have the same things that they do at PWI?
As far as sports at Jackson State, I think are is better than at USM. So yeah, sports is a better advantage. As far as food, um, the food is pretty much the same because it's not really good food. I mean, it's good food, but it isn't healthy food. So if you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle, it makes it hard anywhere you go. Because in college, you just want to just get something fast, and that's what they have around college campuses, just something you can get fast.
Okay. So why did you attend an HBCU?
I left USM because I felt that I wasn't getting the proper education. Well, not the proper education. I wasn't getting the best education that I could receive. Even though I am a smart student, I just feel like the teachers didn't have the best interests of mine.
Okay. What do you feel are some of the challenges of attending an HBCU?
The challenges, I don't see any right now, but maybe when once I graduate college, if I go for an interview with someone who maybe attended a PWI, they may look at them and think that they have had a better education than I have by attending and graduating from an HBCU. But I don't think that that's true. It's all about the person and how hard they apply themselves.
Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about is, especially when you said advantages, I like when you said that earlier that at HBCUs we could also have advantages more than PWIs, and I spoke about food. So, what were some of the food choices that were at USM? Just asking that. What was offered there as food choices, food options?
They have like in the calf, they serve like sandwiches, pizza, burgers, just regular stuff
Okay,
in
so
a
like
dish.
American food.
Yeah. And they have Chick-fil-A, Subway, a Mexican type of restaurant, and like a sandwich shop on campus.
Mm.
And like around the campus, they have a lot of different places. They have McDonald's is closed, Domino's. They have Bops, Raising Cane's, stuff like that.
Okay, so when you were attending the University of Southern Mississippi, where would you choose to eat more? Would you have chosen to eat more in the caf or off campus? Or somewhere on campus or somewhere off campus?
I would, for social reasons, eat on campus because I would like to talk. But for the better food choices, I would rather go off campus because I'm not really a big fan of any of those places that they had. So I would like Raising Cane's. A lot of people go to Raising Cane's, like go to USM, so it's always a nice crowd in there to sit and talk.
Okay. So Let's look at being healthy in general. Did you not eat there because you just didn't like the taste of the food, or because maybe the food wasn't, healthy, or maybe it was too healthy?
The food there, it was. I'm sure it is healthy because healthy food isn't good food, so the food really wasn't good. It was like it lacked seasoning, and seasoning is what's not healthy in the food. So it was that type of food. So that really steered me away from the calf because it's not like what I was used to at home, and it's not like the taste of fast food. So I really wasn't into the food like that.
Hmm.
So I just decided to eat elsewhere and not in the calf.
Okay, so what about some of your friends? What they were they pretty much standing at that same point, or were they like, hey, let's just eat in the cab? Or do you think money plays a role in that too, even though the food may not have been good, as you would say, or have seasoning? Do you think that even though students might say, okay, well, yeah, let's go off campus because it tastes better, do you think they actually stayed on campus because the calf is in your tuition and it's free and they don't have to spend money?
Yes, sometimes I did feel like money plays a part because when you don't have any money, you have no options. You have to eat what's provided. And some days we did stay at school and just eat what was in the camp, even though we didn't like it. We stayed there because not always are you going to have money to just go and just buy whatever you want to eat every day. It's just not going to work by being in college.
So do you think it's actually a good thing that students really just want to eat on campus because the majority of the food is free, even though it's very tasteless? Is that a good thing that they would just be like, well, I'll suffer the consequences just so I won't have to spend another dollar since I'm already paying for tuition?
I wouldn't necessarily say a good thing, but it it keeps them fed in a sense because we're not gonna go hungry because we don't want what's in the calf, even though it's not good. We'll settle for it and probably talk about it, but we're gonna eat it. So yeah.
Okay. Um. So let's go back into settling. Do you think students, when you attend a USM, do you think students settled a lot, or did they go out on a limb and go to other places?
Uh,
Or the majority, at least. You see, sometimes you see a certain amount of people every day, even though it's a large school. But for the majority, do you think that students would just settle for whatever was served?
yes, for the most part, people do settle because when it's lunchtime, most people have a class before and after lunch, so they just have that one little hour break to go grab something fast and go back to class. And that happened a lot that we may have went to lunch at 12 and we had class at 1. So the camp was the best option to go to because we wouldn't have time to go off campus to come back to find a parking spot to go to class. It's just with it being such a big school and having so many places to like around the area to eat it wouldn't it's hard to compromise when it's five of you all trying to find somewhere to eat.
Okay. So I'm glad you said that as well. The timing. Do you think the time to eat should be longer? Even though I know you create your own schedule when you're in college, but just in general, do you think colleges should actually set times where you can eat where it's not just an hour?
Yes, I really do feel like that because at certain times of the days, it's a lot of people in the caf. So that's like most people's lunchtime. And also a lot of professors don't have class schedulings at that time. So everyone has to like basically go to lunch around the same time, the same 1 or 2 hours. So
So it creates a backup.
yes, and sometimes you don't get to adequately eat and enjoy your food before you have to rush off to class.
Right. And so that could also become a hassle, couldn't it? Would you say that because it creates a backup, and now you had that hour to try to find something to eat and actually eat it and let it settle and go to class because it's now a backup. Does that make you want to grab something quicker, whether it's healthy or unhealthy? Because it's like, well, hey, I'm running out of time.
Yes, because it's like even though the camp is free, it's gonna be a line, and you have to wait, and then find somewhere to sit. And then by now you're just really running like I really need to go, I really need to go. But if you go somewhere like Chick-fil-A where, because if it's around the time where everybody are out of like the little money that the college give you to eat, you will be like, it's not a lot of people in Chick-fil-A, so you just run in Chick-fil-A, you can grab some nuggets and you can eat them as you walk across campus to class.
Mm-hmm.
So that would like make it a faster, even though it's not really healthy because they're fried, it's a good little snack to have as you walk to class.
Okay. Um. So let's move on to being here at Jackson State. What are some of the things that they serve here on this campus?
They have like Burger King. They also have Chick-fil-A and Subway, and they have places in the Legacy like Pizza Hut and two other little like mom and pop type of deals going. And they have Wild Wings across the street.
Okay. So, comparing it to USM, even though I think you said earlier that the foods are pretty much the same, does Jackson State, by them, I'm hearing that maybe Jackson State actually offers more food options, but are those food options necessarily more healthier than when you were at USM?
No, I don't think so because the food at USM, like they around the area had healthy places, but because being that USM is like in the middle of Hattiesburg, so like everything is around the campus because it's a college town. In Jackson, it's not a lot of restaurants around Jackson State. Will have to travel to go to like the healthier places, and the places on campus in neither schools are really like healthy. Besides the calf, and that's just because of the regulations that they have to follow by them being a public institution.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned um, places that are around campus, and you said that at USM they have healthier choices around the campus versus on campus. Does Jackson State provide like the closest? Let's think of the closest places here to campus that are around the campus. Are those places healthy?
No, I don't think so because like the closest that's like in safe walking distance would be like Stamps and Boston's, and they had
Can
this little
Can you
food truck.
explain how? Can you explain what these places serve?
Well, Stamps they serve these these big burgers like extremely large.
Wow.
Yes, like they it's nothing healthy about these big burgers at all. And it's like when you go in there to order it, it's like they just take a big glob of ground meat and cook it.
Wow. So
And
it's this really big pound of meat and they just put it on the grill.
yes, that's just what it looks like. And their fries, they have sweet potato fries type, but they put a lot of sugar on it, so that's not healthy either.
Right.
And Boston's, I never really ate there, but from what I see on people's plate, it doesn't look good because they drown their fries with this sauce stuff, and they wings just it's just not appealing. So I really never ate there, so I know that that's not healthy. The building looks unhealthy.
Oh my god. Okay, that's funny. So let's look back at Boston. You said that the food doesn't even look appealing. Are these two places popular places that students on campus actually go?
Stamps is a little pricey, and Boston's is more in students' price range. So more students definitely would go to Boston's. I'm not sure if a lot of students that's like from out of state don't know about Stamps, but Stamps is pretty like the food is good, but it's also a little high, and people would prefer somewhere that's more in their price range. And Boston's is in a lot of students' price range. And it's also a food truck that's close here. It's a Chicago style food truck,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a
Can
lot
you
of
tell me a little about that?
it's it's unhealthy as well. It's nothing healthy about food from Chicago. Like they have these hot dogs, and they just not good. I mean, they good, but they're not good for you. And they are in your price range, in like college students' ideal price range, but it's like I said, like Boston, it's not healthy.
So how long has the actual food truck been around the campus?
I've just noticed the food truck this semester. It hasn't since I've been attending Jackson State. It hasn't always been where it is. I don't know if it was at another location, but it hasn't always been right off of Lynch where it is now.
Okay. So with let's move back to when you said at USM your time is really cut short when you're dealing with trying to eat in the calf and trying to let it digest and go to your next class. Do you still have that same problem? And if you do still have that same problem here at Jackson State, knowing what you've said about Boston's and Stamps and the food truck, the Chicago style food truck, which is close to campus, what do you do then? Do you actually settle or do you go to those unhealthy places?
Well, at Jackson State, I mostly prefer to eat in the Legacy where there's Chick-fil-A and all those little places.
Mhm.
And the service there is pretty fast, but if you decide to go to the calf, it's long lines and hassles trying to find tables. But going off campus, that would just be a bad idea unless you're walking because but it would just be a bad idea because those places make your food to order. So unless you call your order in, you will have to get there and wait, and you will still be rushing when you come back to campus.
So it's pretty much a win lose situation. Would you say that, or what would you think?
Well, if you are looking for somewhere healthy, you're just out of luck. But if you're looking for somewhere fast, you can go to the Legacy but Subway, that's a healthy choice. But Subway, it can be a little pricey sometimes because when they're not doing their $5 foot long, you can get for a foot long, it's gonna be like $7, and then you're gonna need something to drink. So that's like $10 for a sandwich or something to drink, and that's like you could have went to the calf for free,
Hmm.
and but you'll be out of time. So it's kind of like, would you rather spend more money and have more time, or have less time and save your money?
Okay. So with Subway, do you see a lot of students actually go to Subway since you're kind of saying that maybe that might be the most healthiest place on campus, but do you see a lot of business going to Subway?
Honestly, no, because Subway in Jackson State we have Tiger Books, and Subway does not accept Tiger Books. They only accept Supercars. So people knowing that Subway is expensive, they don't go to Subway because it's just for a sandwich, $10 is too much for us just a sandwich or something to drink.
Could you get a sandwich and something to drink elsewhere on campus?
Yes, in the calf, but the sandwiches wouldn't be like a foot long. It'd just be like a not even a 6 inch, maybe like something like a little smaller than that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. So let's move on to another place you mentioned, Wow Wings. We haven't spoke on that. Have you ever been there on campus, or do you know some of the things that they actually serve that maybe you could actually go there to save time and to save money?
Yes, I've been there once, and they aren't really busy either. They sell like burgers, wings, um, That's basically all I saw people getting with like burgers and wings.
So they really. So do they serve anything healthy?
They have like veggie burgers,
Okay.
so I guess that would be healthy because nowhere else around here that I know besides Stamp sells veggie burgers, and I really don't know a lot of people that eat veggie burgers, but
Right. But just because they actually have the option.
yeah, that makes it a healthier option.
Okay. Do you think the government, federal, state, and local, does enough to preserve and encourage HBCUs?
No, I really never hear like people like the government speaking about HBCUs.
Mm.
They just they give the school the money to like distribute how they please, but they don't really speak a lot on HBCUs in my
Mm.
opinion.
Do you think the government plays a role in the foods that we have here?
Well, I know they give regulations as to how you should feed the students at a public institution, so they play a part in the type of food that we have. So the so-called healthy food with less seasoning is played a part by the government. Yes.
So, since you're saying the food is healthy, right?
Hmm.
And it lacks seasoning though, so it's really not appealing. It's not really something that you want to go and get. Would you actually speak out about it? Do you think the government should have a role in what you get to eat while you're in college?
No, because I feel once you go off to college, you are an adult and you can make those choices as to how you choose to live. And if you choose to live an unhealthy lifestyle, that is your business, and no one should tell you how you should eat and how you should live.
Okay, so we're saying that you're pretty. It seems like you're pretty sold as far as what the government should be able to actually control while you're here on campus. What do you think? Do you think that the government is so easy? Well, I don't want to say because the government isn't one person, but do you think those who make up the government or, state or federal government here in Mississippi, do you think they would actually change the options, whether it's here at USM or here at Jackson State? Do you think they would actually be open to changing the options and changing the places around campus if they actually tasted the food here?
If they tasted the food here, they probably would, but since they probably won't taste the food at neither schools
Mm-hmm.
because they wouldn't be going to neither school, they
Mm-hmm.
probably really just know that they have made it where the food is supposed to be healthy and they really don't care about if the students enjoy how it tastes or not. They just know that it should be healthy and they know how the food is supposed to be cooked, so
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't really care.
Okay. Do you think that the government should spend more money when it comes to um the food places, the food options? I know you said that in the legacy, Jackson State has Pizza Hut and Chick-fil-A. And you said they have two other places. Do those other places offer healthy foods there?
um, no, not really. One place it sells like nachos and tacos, and that's not really healthy because the ground meat and the queso cheese and all of that is not really healthy. Well, I guess the chips would be because they baked, but besides that, no. And then another place still Philly cheesesteaks and hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically like what Wow sells, like burgers and stuff like that. So it's really not a healthy choice either.
Mm-hmm. Does the culture and environment at historically black colleges and universities encourage healthy lifestyles, you think?
No, not really. Not really, because most people that attend HBCUs are black. And growing up as a black person, your grandmother usually like cooks with a lot of seasoning, and you have acquired a taste for food and how it should taste in your opinion. And when you get to college and the food doesn't taste like that, you are trying to find the best thing that could match your grandmother's or your mother's cooking, and the food on the campus of Jackson State is just really not appealing and healthy. I mean, what it is healthy, but not tasty, in my opinion.
Um. Well, let's think about this. Do HBCUs campaign, as I would say? Do they campaign for students to be healthy, and maybe students just don't really pay attention to it, or do they just let things be how they are? Do they promote healthy eating? Do they promote walks? Like, do they campaign, hey, students, you should be healthy?
Yeah, they have walks, and sometimes on the plaza they have people passing out papers about healthy food choices, but they never really like tell you like why they're doing this. They just promote it to promote it. But have I attended any of those? No. Do I look at those papers in detail? No, because I feel like you can't tell me how I should live my life, and the food that I eat should be up to me. So
So you say that you feel like they promote it just to promote it. So you think it's kind of put on the calendar just so we can say we did it?
yeah, it's kind of like they're doing it so they won't get fines. That type of deal,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Yes.
Okay. So as far as comparing the two, since you've been to the University of Southern Mississippi and you've been here at Jackson State, looking at the time, looking at your schedule, and looking at how and when you eat lunch, which place do you think offers the best or the most healthiest options?
The most healthy, I think USM would, because around like the perimeter of USM, there are healthy food places. They have McAllister's Deli, there's like the little sandwich shop, and they have a place called the Pub Shop. So those little places are healthy, and it's like with more options, you can find more things that have healthier choices.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you would definitely say that Jackson State is kind of lacking in the healthy area.
Yeah, and it's probably just because of the location of Jackson State, because it's not a lot of businesses would not like to be over in this area
Well,
because
can you
they
describe the area?
well, the area to me is not really where Jackson State is not bad, but the area around Jackson State, like the perimeter, it's like not such great neighborhoods. It's a lot of abandoned and rundown houses, and a lot of homeless people or not so affluent people walking around, and the campus being so open, it's just people just roam the campus sometimes, and the security doesn't really do a good job as to protecting the student body, in my opinion.
Okay. What have been your experiences thus far? And what are some of your most positive experiences while being at an HBCU?
Um, the homecoming festivities are really something that I enjoy by being at the HBCU versus being at USM, because it's more people that I can relate to at the HBCU, because at USM it's like more people that's like are out tailgating and drinking, versus at Jackson State people just dancing and just having fun and not really, just because drinking is like when people drink they get rowdy and stuff like that, and it's in the sun so people could get upset a lot at USM around that. But at Jackson State it's like we don't allow that on the campus, so it's not any drinking. It's just people playing music and just dancing and having a good time. So the homecoming festivities are really nice. And here, the students, I feel like students are more relatable at HBCU, seeing that I am black versus being at USM. Like with that being a PWI, I can relate to more people here than I could have at USM. So that is why I really enjoy going to Jackson State versus USM.
Okay. Are there any questions that I can answer for you at this time?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Thank you so much for your participation.
You're welcome.